Hello, this is Gary Reinhardt from Heart to Heart with Gary Reinhardt. I'm here with Betsy Bain, candidate for Town Supervisor in the town of Lake Pleasant. How are you doing today, Betsy?
I'm doing very well, thank you.
That is great. It's finally sunny out. It rained for the past 2 days. Even tried to rain on Oktoberfest, but we pushed through, and now it's nice. It's warm. It's warmer
Sure
than it usually is,
Yep.
and I'm happy for that. So we are here today to kind of flesh out what you are, what your platform is, and how you feel about certain issues that come on with the town as the elections draw nearer and nearer. I know I'm starting to see the signs pop up like flowers from the ground.
Like springtime.
Yeah, I saw like one for Neil and Don Bronius and for you. So they're popping up. So the first question I have is, what is your platform? What are you running on?
Well, Gary, one of the big things I think is I would like to see people start working together again. I feel that there's a big division in our community. I feel that we're not going to accomplish the things that we really need to accomplish if we don't work together. I feel that the people in our community, we need to resolve the issues that are being ignored, things that have been put on the back burner. Whether it's intentional or not, I don't know, but they are forgotten. I feel that I want to be accessible to our constituents, the people in our community, our seniors, our young people. I feel that I want to be there for all the people.
Excellent. And I think that's something we all can get behind. Now, speaking of, at least I think have been left behind, or at least haven't been talked about in board meetings lately, is the street lights. Now, there are like different facets of the street lights. One of them was some people wanted to have less street lights. I know Nancy Sykes is a big proponent of keeping the lights on. That was her pin she had. Those were your pins? Nancy was the one who gave them to me, so I thought they were yours. That is a correction, ladies and gentlemen. They were Betsy's pins. Keep the lights on. So I guess we know where you stand.
Yes. I feel it's a safety issue. I feel they were put there for a reason. Why all of a sudden are we taking them away? I think if you look at the winter time, when it gets dark early, our guys are out there, county guys, state guys, town boys are out there in those plow trucks. They depend on those street lights. When it's snowing hard, the visibility is bad.
Yeah, I know I feel safer because of the many obstacles we face. Deer and moose and beaver and like all the animals. And I just feel safer overall driving when the streets are lit up than if it's just a dark tunnel and you just kind of drive through. So,
well, think about a stranger coming into town. They're coming from, say, Utica Way through Morehouse. It's dark. From Morehouse all the way to Pasico is very dark, and it's a long, long haul. When you get to Pasico, from Pasico right on into Speculator, we have the street lights. That's very comforting. At least they can see where they are, and as you said, you can see the animals, the wildlife. I mean, at least you have an idea where you are.
And a lot of them feel better because it's like, oh, we finally reached civilization.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Something that's been brought forward is changing the lights from what they were to an LED light, which I guess would not be as bright, but still bright enough to work, and it would do less energy. And there was like a whole program. They had gotten somebody to come in from the state to introduce this. We really haven't heard anything about it lately.
I really don't know where that went. As far as I'm concerned, I feel like we need to know what the cost versus the savings would be. I did contact an individual from the electric company and talk to him. He did give me his email address for information. He wanted me to contact him so he could send me information, which was on the savings versus the costs. He never got back to me. I got back in touch with him 2-3 times and he never answered me.
It's just something we haven't, it just has not been brought up. It was supposed to be brought before the board of supervisors because everybody was trying to get in on it. And then it was a state initiative. The state was supposed to help. And it just kind of dropped off. It just never came back.
Yeah, I don't know what happened. I know that the board of supervisors, county level, were all working on it. Thought that we were getting close to an agreement. But I think it's up to each individual town, and I think that's one of the things that got put on the back burner here.
Yeah, we didn't want to pay for Benson's one street light. No offense to the people of Benson, no. You were awesome. Something that has been very public, however, especially this summer and last summer, and has been heated, which kind of goes back to your we should work together thing, is the golf course road public beach, or the golf course right away. What is your feeling about that?
I feel that I like the idea of the public having access to the lake. I wish we had that as well on Lake Pleasant. I know we do at the public beach, but I just feel that it's there, why take it away? I feel that our board is working very hard and doing the best they can do with what they have to work with. I think it's a tough situation right now, and there is no answer at this point. I think that's something that we're waiting for the survey to be done. That was announced last night at the meeting, and there's really nothing else we can say till we know where we stand.
Right. It's just been a very decisive issue and a very confusing issue, because it's been something that has not been looked at since literally the late 1800s till now. That those right-of-ways have been there since the late 1800s, as I've researched, and have gone this way and every way. And I remember last year when they brought in the abstractor to look at it all over, and he had announced that it was probably the messiest thing he has ever seen. Just this whole thing, and it's just been a mess, and people get really personal. And I know money is very, something a lot of people value, and it's gotten people really heated. And we've said things that we might not want to say, or in the moment we shouldn't be saying. But it's definitely been a heated conflict, and I just don't see it. In fact, I think it's going to get hotter than cool down in the next coming year, especially when the next summer comes up and everybody shows back up. Mm-hmm. Another thing that's a sticky point is the library as a venue for the town board. Now, this was instituted almost a year ago now, that the library has been used as a venue for town board meetings. What is your thought on having the town board meeting at the library?
Well, for the amount of people that are attending the town board meetings, I think a lot more spacious. It certainly accommodates our needs. The only negative that I see to it is when we need documents or paperwork that would be in the supervisor's office or the town clerk's office. It's an issue that we have to just drop for the night and table it to another meeting because we don't have the documents that we need to go by for the information. That's the bad side of it. Debbie can't just run to her office and grab the paperwork and present it to the board so they can come up and make a decision on anything. Otherwise, I think it's a perfect spot. I have no issue with that.
Yeah. I know the first time I tried recording the meetings, one of the hard parts was I had to be right next to my computer, so my big fat head is in the front row. I'm blocking the view of most people. Yeah. So like the entire meeting, I had to bend down with my head so that people could see what was going on.
Well, years ago, we didn't have the people come to the town board meetings like we do now. Mm-hmm. People are getting more involved. People are curious and they want to know what's going on, which is a very good thing for our community. They should know what's going on. They should care. Back when I was on the town board, most of the time it was the town board at the meeting and that was it. Mm-hmm. So, town hall was very fitting for our needs. But as it grew and people started coming around, we needed a bigger place.
Yeah, locals have been more involved with the meetings, which is, it's a good thing in the fact that you get more perspectives on things. I've seen times where someone will have an answer that the town board didn't think of and then be able to institute that idea. Mm-hmm. And that was a big part of why I wanted to record the meetings, because it allows people who can't be at the meetings because of the time, because they have to work or they have children or whatnot, but they can still be involved in the local government and what's going on with their taxpayer money.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
What is your opinion on the transparency of local government?
I think it's great. I have no issue with that. I think it's very good that everything is out there and people can hear and see firsthand what's going on. I think it's very good.
And it's good that we have the meetings archived, and I think that allows for an accountability of the board members and of the supervisor, as well as people who make accusations that they didn't say this or didn't say that, and then you can go back and be like,
Absolutely.
well, that's what was said or what wasn't said. Now, one big sticking point has been business here in Lake Pleasant. The Adirondacks as a whole is a very unique place. Mm-hmm. We're not, relatively speaking, we're not near any major cities, the most major city. And people laugh at me who are from real cities when I say, oh, I'm going to the city this weekend. Where are you going? I'm going to Gloversville.
Yeah.
And they'll laugh at me because that's what we consider a big city around here. Mm-hmm. So that's a unique thing. What can we do, or how can we improve business quality and quantity here in Lake Pleasant in such a secluded and special area?
Well, I think you have to look at the regulations. We need to start removing some of the layers of regulations. You know, you have to jump through so many hoops as a business person. You've got the fees, you've got the expenses, you've got the lack of storefronts here, the APA restrictions, local planning board restrictions. You know, we're a tourist area. And most local businesses thrive on the seasons, but we need something for all year long, not just for the season. You know, we don't have any snow in the wintertime. What happens to Oak? What happens to the snowmobile trails? What happens to our local business? It's the trickle effect for everyone. So we need to find something year-round. We need to promote year-round business to bring people in.
Now, as someone who operates a motel yourself, you can provide some insight in this. For a tourist town, we don't have that many lodging options. And then what lodging options there are, some of them come with special caveats, like you got to be there for the whole week. So for somebody who's up just for the weekend or for a wedding of some sort, it's difficult for them to stay. I know something I've mentioned many times. When my mom passed away, we had her funeral, and most of my family's from New Jersey, and they drove almost 4 hours to come up and had to drive all the way back because there was no place to stay. There was like no place for them to go, and even our family homes got filled up with people. I remember that the Lake Pleasant Lodge, as it's known now, wanted to expand and ran into a bunch of problems. What can we do to help create more motels to help people stay in a tourist town?
Well, we definitely need more lodging, but you need something to draw people here, make it worthwhile for someone. We almost had another motel go up, but the cost of everything to do it, you know, how's it going to survive? Mm-hmm. You know, it can't survive on a seasonal business. You need year round. It's I know myself. I mean, in the summertime, you feel terrible turning people away. We only have 10 rooms. So I give phone numbers for other local businesses trying to support it. And that is one thing the Airbnb has been very helpful to our community. We have a lot of Airbnbs throughout all our communities here. And that really helps us to keep people in this area. I'll be honest, we get a lot of out-of-country people, especially in the fall for the fall foliage. We've lost a lot of that to the Airbnbs, but we're a motel. We're well known as a motel. People know we're there, so we still book no matter what. Mm-hmm. So we're able to accommodate more people and keep them here in our community, spending their money here, which is what we need.
Yeah, and that's the same thing what we do at the end is if we don't have room, we tell them here are other options in the area. Mm-hmm. And I think that's very special that the businesses here aren't really as competitive as you think they would be. We recognize that by working together, we help each other out. If we're stacked with people, we suggest other places to go to help them out.
Absolutely.
Because if they win and we win, then we all win as a community.
Mm-hmm. And again, that's getting everybody to work together. And we do work together very well that way.
Now, recently we've had a lot of events, especially Oktoberfest was this Sunday, Beer and Wine was this Saturday. and both were resounding success. Even Oktoberfest with the rain and the cold, and having to run a carnival game in the rain and cold was not fun. But to see the smile on children's faces as they got prizes and stuff made it worthwhile. Mm-hmm. But what was also worthwhile is the businesses around here were jam-packed. Every restaurant I've talked to, they had wait times on what would usually be a slow night. So it shows that these events are very successful, not just with the event itself, but for businesses at large. In fact, they announced last night at the town board meeting, 800 people showed up to the Beer and Wine Festival. 800 people that probably wouldn't have shown up if we didn't have that event. Now, what can the town board do to help create more events like that to bring in business and allow the ones that already exist to flourish and become bigger events and bring more people in?
Well, I'd like to see the town board promote local businesses and support new ideas. Help vendors, help with paperwork, whatever it takes to make it happen. There's no reason why I as town supervisor, town board, can't help with that to make it easier.
Now, one of the problems within that is the supervisor's office is very vacant. Like there's usually nobody there. Now, as someone who owns a business, I know it's very tough to be able to run a business and do this. Do you plan on being in the supervisor's office during the business hours, even though you own a business?
Yes. Hopefully by January, our business is sold. But I plan on being a full-time hands-on supervisor. I plan on being there for my constituents, all local people, our seniors, our youth. And the biggest part for me is I feel that you need to be full-time. You need to be in there working with the office staff, helping the department heads wherever they need help. We all need to be on the same page to make our community, everything in that town hall work smoothly the way it should be. Right now, I think there's a lot of issues because one department doesn't know what the other department is doing or not doing, and things are slipping through the cracks. That has to stop. And I feel by being there full-time, we'll all work together. I feel that if there is an issue with a town employee, and just say myself, if I were the supervisor and I didn't get along with someone, I would certainly sit down and talk to that person, because we're not there to be friends. We're there to work together for our town, for our community. What we do outside of work doesn't matter. We don't have to socialize together. We don't have to live together. We don't have to be friends. But we have to have a good working relationship to make things go for our town.
Exactly. Now, what are some ideas you would like to present to the Board of Supervisors, which is, for people who don't know, all the supervisors get together, I think, once a month or so to kind of hash out ideas for all the towns.
Yeah. Well, that's kind of tough because I'm not on the inside. That's going to be new to me. Being on the town board, I understand how the town works, the positions and what the jobs are and how to make things happen. County level, I don't know. That's all going to be new to me. So I'm really going to have to get my feet wet. I'm not afraid to jump in with both feet, and I'm more than willing to learn. And I'm also very willing, when I don't understand something, to admit it so that someone can help me.
Well, that's good to hear. How do you feel about the local tax rates that we face right now?
Well, that's been a big issue going around talking to different taxpayers through this whole election process. And how I can relate to that is when we first bought our property and built a house, we bought on Oxbow Lake because that's what we could afford. We built what we could afford. Back then, we didn't live here full time. This was going to be a retirement home for us. Once, after 10 years of going back and forth, we wanted to be here. Our heart was here. So we sold out down below and we moved up full time. But we were young. We were in our early 40s. So we both had to work. So that's why when I sit and chat with people and they're concerned about their lakefront taxes being so high, I understand what they're saying. But at the same time, they moved here, they retired here. They don't have to make a living. For us, we had to make a living. We weren't retired. So for us, this is just where we wanted to live. We loved the way it was. We wanted to be a part of the community, but we had to go out and work in the community to make ends meet. So I understand why people are concerned about their taxes, but we knew going into it when we bought our lakefront property and built our house that our taxes would be higher. And quite honestly, when you look out the window, we're very fortunate to live on the lake and we're willing to pay those extra taxes. And we've always felt that way.
Yeah, the Adirondacks is a beautiful and marvelous place. And anytime I've ever had doubt about why I live here, just look at Speculator Mountain, especially now with the orange. And it's like, yep, I know, I remember why.
I have people come into the office in the morning and say, oh, it's beautiful here. You hear those loons this morning? And I tell them, we're very lucky because we don't have to go home. We are home.
Yeah,
it is beautiful. We're lucky.
Such an amazing place.
Yes, it is.
Now, in the next election, we're going to get two new town board members, as two of the board members, Bob Peck and Michael Connor, will be stepping down. Do you expect a smooth transition if you are elected, if all three of you come into this new situation? Not to make predictions. I'm not making predictions. I won't put that out there. But I know some of the potential candidates have experience, such as Neil McGovern has experience. Don Bronius has experience as a town worker. I don't know the third gentleman so well, so I can't really speak on his behalf. I know that they have experience going into the town board. Do you think that will be a smooth transition as they come in?
Well, I worked with Neil. Neil was supervisor when I first got on the town board, and I worked with Neil McGovern for 4 years. Neil and I worked very well together, so I'm not at all concerned about the transition. The only thing is we've done a flip-flop if I win supervisor and he wins town board, where before it was the other way around. Don Bronius, like you say, he's been a town employee for how many years? He's retired now. He has the time to put into it, and he knows all about the town board and how everything works. So I don't think that's going to be an issue.
How do you feel about the town workers and the quality of their work so far?
You mean the highway boys?
Yeah.
The highway guys in the back?
Highway guys.
I think we're very lucky to have the guys we have. I think they work very hard for our town. Very happy to say that they're always there whenever there's an issue. Whenever I go in there, they'll stop, they'll talk to me. You know, you could pick up the phone and call if a senior has an issue, ice in the driveway or something, and I know that became an issue last year. We've always been there for our seniors. There's no reason not to. And those guys are always there. There's never a question. They're great guys. We're very lucky to have them.
They go above and beyond the call of duty.
They always have.
And we're always lucky to have such hard, dedicated people.
And they are.
So, what do you think can be improved in our town overall?
First, we have to get everybody to start working together. Mm-hmm. Through this whole election process, something that I've really learned, and this seems to really be a concern for a lot of our taxpayers, is the division in our community. We need to get people working together again. If we want things to happen in our community, we have to work together as a team. This is a big issue. It seems like it's us and them, and we have to change that, and we have to work together as a team.
All right. Well, before we go, as I always do, I'd like to give the floor to you if there's anything else you would like to talk about or anything you'd like to mention. And the floor is yours.
Well, I just want to say that if elected, I will be a full-time hands-on supervisor. If anyone has any concerns or questions and needs help, you just come to that office. My door will always be open, and I will do whatever I can to help.
And remember, everyone, to go out and vote. There are many different ways that you can go out and vote. First, you can get your absentee ballots at the Board of Elections at the county building. That's right next to the DMV, the golf course area. You also can get early voting. Betsy has a little information on that.
Early voting starts Saturday, October 26th and goes right on through till Sunday, November 3rd. For the hours of voting, you can call the Board of Elections at 518-548-4684, and they will be able to help you. Don't forget November 5th, Election Day.
Yep, Election Day, November 5th at the Lake Pleasant Fire Hall. Everyone should go out and make their voices heard. No matter which way you vote, it is important that we exercise our rights as Americans to put our voice out there for our local governments. I'd like to thank Betsy for coming in.
Thank you for the opportunity.
No problem, and I hope to see you all guys next time.